Hello everyone, welcome to Thoth Tarot. You're joining me on the end of another wintry day in Brussels. Welcome to new subscribers, welcome back to those who already know me. So indeed, today I'm going to be looking at a deck and a guidebook, which have been part of a study that I've been doing this autumn, where I've been studying several decks at the same time. I'm going to be linking the reviews for all of this in this video so that you understand if you're a viewer and you're interested, what else have I been working with and how do they all interact? And basically because I was doing a challenge where I was going through all 78 keys of a tarot deck. The main deck that I was using is the Fox Tarot, and this is a deck by Taylor Hay. This is an independent deck. But in the background, what we could do is calibrate the keys with another deck if we wanted to. Now, I was doing that with an Oracle deck that I've also been pairing with the Illustrated Fox Tarot. That was the Wild Unknown Archetypes Oracle deck by Kim Kranz. The full review and the actual walkthroughs of this deck, there's 2 videos that go with this deck, will also be linked in this video, so you can go and check them out if you wanted to. And so in the background, though, I was actually working with Tarot of the Spirit by Pamela and Joyce Eakins, which is going to be the focus of this video, and working with Kabbalah and Tarot of the Spirit. And just to give you even more to think about and to ruminate on is basically also in the background, I had my little mini Thoth. This is Aleister Crowley and later Frieda Harris's Thoth, published by AGM. I also had this. So these two were kind of like in tandem with each other, but this was the main background deck that I was focused on. And what led me to all of this was that at the end of summer this year, 2023, I was actually looking at the Dark Days Tarot, and it all began with this deck. So quite a story there. And finally, one of the decks that we'll also be looking at in this review, if we get to it, because it's going to be a huge review, is the Shimmering Veil Tarot by Cilla Conway. This is another indie deck. Okay, so quite a lot there for everyone to digest, a lot going on, but now you understand the context that this has been kind of like a background deck for the last 3 months approximately, and there's a reason for that, and that is because I believe for me in my studies, I want certain decks that will become kind of like anchors in my study. They are going to be ones that I return to time and again. They are further than the RWS and the Thoth, but so as in like those are of course systems and the Marseille, but this is a deck which will have a place because it actually has a lot of esoteric wisdom within it. And so I really wanted this to become a part of my studies going forward, not just now, but in order to have that, I need some foundation. And for me to just dip in and out of the book, sometimes that's not enough. I actually just need to go through the whole thing. And as you can see, that's what's happened. So this was quite an extensive study that I did, and this is my introduction to it. Before I go further, I also want to do some disclaimers. So this is my personal study and my personal experience. I don't claim any form of ownership nor expertise in this area. I looked at it from a point of view of openness and curiosity and a self-study. So that's where I'm coming from, and that's where I just basically wanted to delve into this. And it's not kind of like just out of the blue, by the way. I've been doing a lot of esoteric studies my whole life, so this isn't something completely new to me, but this is the first time where I went through something systematically and really have taken a lot of notes on this. And this is not the end, this is just the beginning of my studies, basically. So let's turn to the actual book and this deck. So this is copyrighted 2014. Of course, Pamela Eakins is a well-known teacher in the field named Joyce Eakins, and that's Pamela Eakins' mother. They come from what I recall is known as the Pacific Western Mystery School, and this is combining research, descriptions, pathworking, and of course the artwork by Joyce Eakins. Just as a bit of an anecdote, as I recall from either a video I saw, because I have been watching Pamela Eakins' channel a little bit, not too much, because there's so much in there. That's the truth of it. When I sit down and watch a Pamela Eakins video, I actually need to just focus. It's just so rich in content. But Pamela Eakins, as I recall, has mentioned in one of her videos that these paintings, some of them are actually at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And I think you have to make an appointment in order to see the ones that are there, something along that basis. And I thought that was fascinating. I have been to the Met before, but never knew about this. So of course, if I ever have the opportunity again and the privilege, I would definitely ask if I could have an appointment just to be able to see these beautiful paintings. As this book was being developed, I understand Pamela Eakins had asked her mother to also develop a tarot deck, and I understand Joyce Eakins kind of mulled it over, did one card, and then of course everything unraveled from there, and a deck was born basically. This book and the deck go into the ancient tradition of the Kabbalah, which I'm going to go further into. I use this as a basis of self-study. Of course, Pamela Eakins has a PhD in sociology, and of course has gone on from there to do much more other work as well. And what I understand the wording was that she wanted to go further than the intellect. This was about having an integrated approach into taking account the elements. So let's go into the book. So really this whole book, and I have here books 1, 2, and 3. So all of them, this is in black and white. I don't have them in color. I think they come separated in color. I just have this one big beast of a book. That's all I'm going to say at this moment. I just have this one big tome, but it is a phenomenal book. So she goes into the elements, the heart, and really this comes from looking at the heart, the mind, the body, and the spirit. So of course we're looking at our 4 elements. We're looking at cups, we're looking at pentacles, we're looking at swords, and we're looking at the wands. And also the 5th element, which she also mentions, is known in Sanskrit as Akash, which is of course what we would call ether, is Akash. And some say 5th element, seems to say it's actually 0. It's actually not 5th, it's before everything else. That's up to each person how they decide. And the Temple of Western Mysteries, I think she went into it and she was in her early 30s. That's Pamela Eakins. So the Pacific Mystery School, I think that's what it's called. So I considered this really to be, I think it will become a part of tarot history. That's how I see it. There's a lot of accolades from it from the beginning, and it's a very well received piece of work. And as you can see here already from the contents page, it is extremely, extremely rich. I would definitely recommend that if you're going to go into this, to actually just sit and give yourself a bit of time to read the first section, as in each section, and taking a few days and taking time to contemplate what they're saying. This deck is actually seen by the author and the creators as a kind of like an oracle of the Tarot of the Spirit. That's how it's called. And I personally think also it is, it's a great way to put it, because each key is so huge once it opens up. So I think that the energies in here can, of course, be more seen as from an oracle lens, which is, I think, for me, much deeper and wider. But that's just my personal viewpoint. So when we go into this, and here she has Oracle of the Tarot, what we have here is quite a lot. Now, the whole book has been sectioned up. What we have here is understanding of the actual Kabbalah and the tree of life. So all of that is explained in the first section, the spheres and so forth. And then we go into the tarot family, that's what she calls it. And these are what we would traditionally say the courts. And the courts have been divided into, of course, the elemental, so waters, not the elemental, sorry, forgive me. Let me start again. They have been divided into their actual position. So the king, the queen, which she calls cosmic father, cosmic mother, what we would call traditionally the knight, but that's here cosmic brother, and here cosmic sister, which we would call the page. So we have basically a prince and a princess as well in here. And then we actually go into the majors and all the keys. Now, this is rich. You can already see we're going into like 700, nearly 800 pages. But what I want to talk about was how actually the sections gives you a very, very good in-depth analogy. And I've got so many bits here tagged, but I want to first talk about Pamela Eakins' own introduction into this. And let me go to the right page, page 4. Here it is. Here is page 4. And I wanted to quote this because I thought it was beautifully written. It says here, Pacific Mystery School is dedicated to inviting in and transmitting the philosophy and initiations of Kabbalah and the Tree of Life through Tarot of the Spirit. Tarot of the Spirit is a compendium of Kabbalistic knowledge. It has 3 pillars and 3 aims. 1, it is the spiritual path. 2, it is an oracle that reveals concealed information. 3, it offers a daily practice for retaining and expanding mystical knowledge. And I thought that was such a beautiful introduction of how one could approach this, that really has these pillars of, giving us a path and giving us an understanding and a revelation of information, but also how to use this on a day-to-day basis. And that's why I said that I really wanted to make this deck part of my core studies and my anchor, because this, I think, for me will be a very good, not just a tool in itself, but a tool to use with other decks. Okay, so going further from this, I just wanted to also mention that because we have, of course, it's called here Kabbalah, I thought it was very interesting to to look at some of the quotes that Pamela Eakins has put in her book, such as such, Kabbalah evolves us as we evolve Kabbalah. So really, we're looking at journeying as with the Tree of Life, but the Tree of Life is an evolution as well. That's how I see it when I read that. And also in here, I just wanted to point out something, because we have Kabbalah with a K, we have Kabbalah with a C, and of course Kabbalah with the Q, and of course that's referencing different theologies. And here Pamela Eakins writes right at the bottom, she writes, for this book, I decided to employ the now popularized, well-known spelling Kabbalah with the K. I employ this spelling with a sense of generations-long immersion, authenticity, and unity. In the end, Kabbalah is Kabbalah is Kabbalah. And the Tree of Life is ours for the climbing. So you can't see that right at the top there. She's written, and the Tree of Life is ours for the climbing. I thought that was so beautifully written. I just thought that I must show this, because it just shows how much the author really has. It's not just a personal journey, but it's also about her transmitting her experience to the outer world. She also, of course, speaks about her own hereditary, her own coming to this path, her own family, her father, her grandparents, and so forth. And I think that's beautiful. For me personally, just as a personal anecdote, I come from a tradition where, the generations of my family, my cousin still holds our family tree, and it goes back at least about 300 to 400 years. And that is a really big part of the tradition that I come from, that we must actually always be recording our next steps and who's coming next. And I'm in there, and it's just interesting. The next generations are in there. Of course, those who've passed have also been noted. It's just such an integral part of my personal journey and my family's. And as I'm getting older, hopefully you can hear me well, as I'm getting older, it's becoming very apparent that, that this is a legacy which I don't want to carry in a heavy way. I want to carry in a way of transmitting knowledge, and Pamela Eakins is showing that through this book, and Joyce Eakins too. So I thought that was beautiful, this point about hereditary and how important it is that then, we have this evolution as we go forward as well, and change, and the system changes in a way as well. So I thought that was well done. And so one thing I want to say is that also that the creators have classified the deck in 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s for the minors. So that's very much similar to what we would have in the numerical systems, in the Thoth system as well, rather than the RWS. As we look at it here, as I recall, for this particular walkthrough, I've got it in the suit order, but you can actually do it in the order that this book is laid out if you want to study, and it becomes easier for you. We also have some discussions here on the spiritual path. It's just so rich that if you are interested in doing the study, my experience has been to take time and to do these readings in piecemeal, and that's why I spent so long with this book. I wanted to absorb the book and experience the book as I was working through it. So transmuting ourselves and our species, you know, as I said that. So yeah, I thought that that was when I do this video, I'm thinking of the title actually, because I think it's a review, but it's also about my experience of working this book as well. So I think that's more accurate in what I'm trying to convey here. Okay, so reading the Kabbalistic Tarot of the Spirit. And here again, we have so much information, how it's Oracle of Tarot, the keys to the psychic doorway. I believe that this deck really does activate if we work with it. That's what my experience has been. Of course, if you don't feel that way, or if you don't feel of those experiences, you know, each to their own. I respect everyone's journey. This is just myself saying that as I worked through this, I could feel the activation of the portals as it's described. She's written here some called Tarot Mirror of the Soul. So just beautiful wordings from a writer. Just if you're someone that wants to go beyond the basics and wants to do Kabbalah, but you know, we have a lot of great decks and books out here. For me, this is a really good dive, basically. So then we have some layouts, some spreads and so forth that you can have a look at. And then your cards, your way on the Temple of Tarot and Reverence. So really this is about making the deck your own, which I think is just beautiful. My impression is that's how Joyce Eakins also approached developing all the keys as she went through them. The cards are alive, the teachers. So again, you know, the emphasis is that through the keys we're learning. I don't know where that belongs. I'm just going to have to shove it in there. Okay, so, and then here we have book one, the Minor Arcana. So it's nearly 17 minutes in. Now let me go into the actual book and how each, you know, you'll get the sections basically. So what we have here is, she's described here book one, the Minor Arcana. So we'll have a discussion on the powers of the Kabbalah, the tree of life, how the minors are the spheres and so forth. She will give a great introduction to looking at this. I recommend also there's a video Pamela Eakins has done on the tree of life. Now it's a long video. I will warn you, it was like a couple of hours. I actually studied the video and it was just superb. For me, I love that integrated learning. I mean, I personally think we're so blessed that there is a teacher that is giving out free videos, and in a way you can follow the book and the videos together, and that's a whole course for free. I just think that's beautiful. So here we have also all the spheres, very much in depth. For example, here with Chokmah, we have the two of fire, water, air, wind, and earth. Attraction, the cosmological power of attraction is the state of being drawn, of drawing toward, out, or into. In physics, the law of attraction indicates the mutual action by which bodies or particles of matter tend to draw together and or cohere. The complex interplay of attractions keeps the whole of the universe in motion. Your attractions are the process of the universe becoming. Your attractions initiate the evolution of the one. What a beautiful summary. And I just want to say, I think that this kind of work, you know, for me, I'm just so grateful that we have this because, you know, today we're seeing less and less of this kind of depth, to be very frank. I think some authors are doing fantastic jobs, some creators, but sometimes we're just not getting so much information in booklets and so forth. And in little paragraph like that, you've got such a huge, chunky, condensed, the essence of that sphere. So there you go. So that's that. Then, of course, here comes all the elements. I mean, nothing has been spared in creating this book. It is a labor of love. And then Pamela Eakins does the beauty of, I need to go back to my notes. Hold on a second. Where is the... You can see here that I've been just doing so many notes in and out. There's somewhere in here, I've probably placed it somewhere else. So she will go through each of the sections of the triangle. So we have the supernal triangle, we have the ethical triangle and so forth. And I think, again, done so well that we have not just each of the spheres, but each of the spheres within a set, of course, pointing out, and all through the book, as we read each section, we'll have discussions on when we cross the abyss and so forth, and just, again, done so well. So here, it's all about one. So if you were somebody that was saying that I really want to go into the numerological aspects, this is from a Kabbalistic point of view, the numerological aspects. And I think, again, beautifully written, intelligence of the 4 wands hidden, astrological wisdom of the 4 wands, spiritual experience of the 4 wands. So again, just again, a lot there. And then we have 1 of fire, which is of course 1 of the wands, force. So each of the keys will come with its own keyword, and just attention that this is not always like the same as what you would think. Oh, this is going to be a Thoth keyword. No. Pamela and Joyce Eakins have worked strenuously to really create their own interpretation of each of the keys. So just an example, what you would get for each one is you would get kind of like an opening, then keywords, the teaching, cosmic fire, and then here esoteric Hebrew attribution. So this is cosmic fire, this is the actual key there, and then astrological attribution, primal fire, so in astrology, and there we have predominant season, summer solstice to fall equinox, and then we have Kabbalistic symbols, traditional meditation color, dominant colors. And then here's some writings of people who have done meditations with this. And sometimes you'll have, not with this one, but sometimes you'll also have a bit of script from Pamela Eakins herself. I want to show you another one because the wands are quite an interesting one, but let me show you another one let me show you a quote because I really want to make sure that we cover different aspects. So here's the 3s. Again, you'll see there's so much in here. And just so you noticed, each of these key names, like here we have 2 of water, sacred cord, 2 of cups is sacred cord. These all key names interrelate with each other as well. So as you work through this, you will start to see the relationship between the key names, the keywords for each of the keys. Let me show you a quote because that's also very interestingly done. Let me see where are the quotes? Are they at the back? I can't remember now. So here we have the 10s. I think that they're at the front, but I could be wrong. Let me just check again. Yeah, no, the tarot family are at the end, sorry. 343 onwards. Yeah, okay, so Fire Father. Let's go into another one, not a wand, because we've just done a wand. Cosmic Brother. Let's look at Water Brother, which would be traditionally the Knight of Cups. So here's an example I just wanted to give. This is the key that this is the card that we're going to see in here. Of course, if you had the colored book, you would have a colored illustration. Keywords you would get position on the tarot calendar. I really thought that was interestingly done. October the 13th till November the 12th. So you have the specific decans that's going to be followed by. Mentored by Wind Mother, which would be Queen of Swords, Air Queen. Eastern Threshold. And that's when you start to see that Water Brother is called Wings of Love, and this is called Eastern Threshold. Informs Fire Father, Spirit of Flame, which is, of course, the King of Wands, Spirit of Flame. And supported by Water Sister, let me make sure I get that in angle, which is, of course, our Princess of Cups, or a Page of Cups, also known as Love Divine. And this is interesting, presides over 4 of Wind, so that goes back to where it's in the decans. 4 of Wind, known as Mastery, which is of course our 4 of Swords, our knight that lies on his back basically in contemplation and meditation, Mastery. 5 of Water, our Grief card, 5 of Cups, Spilling. And 6 of Water, 6 of Cups, Faith. So interesting how these will all relate to each other. And I think it's really important to understand. So if you are somebody that wants to follow the astrological wheel and the interconnectedness, these teachings, so here we have the teaching, here we have at the bottom astrological attribution, Libra into Scorpio, last 10 degrees of Libra, first 20 degrees of Scorpio. We have how they interplay with each other and what that might mean, and then Kabbalistic symbols here, which again, and this you would follow with the key out. So we're going to look at that in a bit, but you'll just get an idea because I want to make sure I cover everything well. Here we have a meditation. And again, another meditation. And these are basically testimonies of people who've worked with this key and how they experienced it. And again, I thought that was beautifully written. So you have here quite a bit in this book. And what I found really interesting was to really follow the book, each piece, because then the whole, it's like the deck knits together. And once it starts to knit together, the cosmological world that it's creating starts to, for me anyway, came alive, you know. That's how I was finding it. It was almost like I was journeying into the keys. So, okay, now we've done the book, kind of like, hopefully I've covered as much as the book as possible. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. I want to also show, let me see here. Here's the 3 tiers of initiation. So yes, we're now here going into the majors. Let me give you a little bit of a touch of the majors and what you would get, because that's also quite an interesting aspect. The majors, of course, are following the bars in the Tree of Life. They're actually the bars. So here we have here the 3, I can't remember the name that I was using for it. The girders, that's what they're called in here. The girders of the tree, the branches of the Empress. So that would be the Empress. There's strength, and there's the Tower card. You see, this is why this book, I find, is fundamentally so well written. Because again, she will explain how she sees these 3 girders interacting with each other. I mean, I would never have thought of putting the Empress, the strength, and the Tower card together. But now I'm getting somebody else walking me through it and helping me to understand their correlations according to the Tree of Life, of course. You know, this is the exercise that we're doing. It's up to you if you want to follow that, of course, but that's why I thought it was absolutely superb. Here we have, of course, this middle pillar, the very famous middle pillar. If anybody's read the book by Israel Regardie, please let me know what you think of it, because I haven't yet, and I'd love to. His meditations and scrying on the middle pillar. And this crossing the abyss and then going further below is absolutely superbly well done in this book. There's a lot that one can do in contemplation of it. So let's look at one of the majors, so you get an idea of what you would get in this book if you were working with one of the majors. You can see I've just been underlying here. Here's the Empress. So we would have here a little intro, then esoteric title, Daughter of the Mighty Ones. Keywords here, and this is interesting, in fire. So how she would be, see, this is the thing, this is not the Empress is some pregnant woman on a throne. This is the depth. It's in fire: passion, desire, drive, selection, fulfillment, staying on the course. In water: individuation, protective membrane, love, nurturance, development, evolution, maturation, potential viability. And here we have in air and wind: imagination, idea, choice, focus, protection, sustenance, the delicacy and fragility of becoming. And in earth: creating, sustaining, nurturing, and releasing. So, you know, this is just, for me, so rich that a key is taken and really contemplated beyond the, as I said, it's a bit of a funny thing, you know, the pregnant woman on a throne kind of thing. And I love this. I love how Pamela Eakins sees the Empress. Her interpretation, she brings in the Milky Way, which I thought was beautiful when you really have a meditation on that, and how she would see this part of the, you know, the Empress in the cosmos, basically. We of course here have in Hebrew the Empress is called Daleth, the door. So again, bringing in this esoteric wisdom of the Kabbalah. Path 14 on the Tree of Life, because that's what the Empress is, path 14. She's, of course, connecting spheres 2 and 3. Nurturing on the path, balancing and sustaining, so key 3 here. And here, by the way, when you look at path 14, you'll see that Pamela Eakins gives how those path 14 connects those spheres, which is, I think, beautifully done. Here about the Hebrew letter, Daleth. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. I think its alternative spelling is Dalet. I don't know. Door, that's what this means. And she who sets in order. I just thought it was, again, so beautifully done and rich. Here, astrological attributions, Venus, of course. You know, if you've already been doing your astrological studies, that's fantastic, I think. And I think it's even richer. As someone who, I've been a kid when I was, you know, obviously it's part of my personal religion. So, but, you know, I remember, like, you know, growing up, and my mother would be like, Neha, snap into it. This is what it means. You know, she'd lose her temper a little bit sometimes. And then, you know, as I get older, readings like this really expand my knowledge, and that's for me so important. I can't just stay stuck on what I know. For me, it's just so important that I keep expanding it. And this whole autumn was the chance for me to go, okay, it's time for me to keep growing myself. Here's Intelligence Luminous. So this is about what Path 14, and she's actually given it a key word, which is luminous. Musical note, F sharp, which I thought was beautiful, that's the vibratory resonance of the Empress, Path 3, Path 14, key 3, and then Kabbalistic symbols, sits upon the altar of the Magus. So again, just so beautifully written. Hopefully you're still with me. Traditional meditation colors, emerald green, sky blue, this is her interpretation. And then there's an appendix at the back, so we get all the colors of the Tarot of the Spirit, and then mystery throughout the universe. In the Womb of the Empress by Caroline Ayers, resting in her fold. And then again, a tarot reading with the Empress by Pamela. So, I mean, this hopefully is giving you a good understanding of how much has gone into this. Let me see what else we have here. Here we have archetypal contrast of the sun and the moon. Interesting, right? And let me see if I can find the wheel. But the cosmological wheel is in here as well, with the attributions of all of the cards, which again, I thought was just so well done. I don't think I'm going to find it now because I've got so much tabbed. I've probably missed it somehow. Let me see if I've got it here. Key initiations. I don't know if I've got it tabbed or I might have missed it. Oh, here it is. See, so here we have it, one of wind, one of water, then we have the quartz, then we have the other quartz, and then the whole thing going inward. Just absolutely amazing. So I'm going to stop here, I think, on the book, because I've now, I think, done a lot of talking on this book. But I hope you have enjoyed my understanding of the book. Now let's move this to the side a little bit, and let's open up the deck, because some of you might be thinking, well, we want to see the deck though. But I really believed, for me, the deck actually came, by the way, after the book. I had been reading the book for 2 months or like 6 weeks, and I thought, get the deck for heaven's sake. So there we go. So here is the deck, of course. Now, this deck is a very, very well-known deck, and I'm just going to slowly, let me put this here. Hopefully you can see this. Okay, yeah, it's coming up okay. I'm just going to slowly go through this, and these are the backs. And when I initially started to work with this deck, I was kind of like thinking, if I'd just seen this keys, to be quite honest, I'd be like, all right, it's like 3 wands with stars on them. Okay. But when I started to really work with the deck, it just completely started to change. Now, this deck, by the way, comes with a little plastic card that I'm sure many of you know about if you know this deck, and you can overlay it on, and each of the keys has been designed so that you actually then can see that card in relation to the tree of life, because that's how it's been done. So here's 4 of fire. So again, it's for me, this is just absolutely stunning. The whole deck, the artwork, it's almost like sometimes I would go to bed having done a study of the key, and it would just literally be coming alive in my mind. 6 of fire, we've got this magic carpet there, 6 of wands. I just found myself, I was also part of my notes. I don't know if anybody would want to see them, so I don't bring them, but I was literally just drawing these keys out because I just found them so fascinating. Really, really just going into this and thinking, this is amazing. Let me see if I can just very quickly find my notebook. I can actually. So if anybody's still with me on this review, maybe you are or maybe you're not, but this is something I did do, which is I would go in and do my own kind of like writings. Those are my squiggles everywhere. And then sometimes I would, did I do one for this one? Yeah, I would do my own kind of like doodles, my own drawings for this. You can see that there, hopefully. You can see that in shot. I would do that kind of thing. I just had so much fun with this deck because it was almost like the deck was inviting me to, sorry, not the camera a little bit there. The deck was inviting me to really allow myself to understand, like, this is called spilling. And then when we read it with Pamela Eakins' understanding of what spilling is about, it kind of like everything starts to make sense. Let me see one here. 5 of Wind, fear. And that looks really, to me, it looks really scary. It's like these broken glass swords or something, and that's 5 of Wind. So here's the 4s. Can I find a 5? 5 of Water. 5 of Wind, fear. And now you start to see the marriage of this, right? So if we put that there, it says, just at the beginning, it says, fear inhibits the unknown. Move in faith towards your higher calling. And then the keywords: fear, tension, pain, anxiety, inhibition, immobilization, weakness, depletion, surrender, imagination, advance with awe. And then here comes the teaching. Gabura, which is of course fear 5, is the sphere of destruction. At the 5 of Wind, fear, methods of relating break down. This is because you are entering into an unknown territory where old rules no longer apply. This is our traditional 5 of Swords. If we all recall, sorry, let me see if I can keep this open. If we get to our 5 of Swords, which I do have here actually as well. I came prepared, peeps. I came prepared for this one because I knew it was going to be a lot here, but if you're still interested, here it is. See that this is our RWS 5 of Swords, so that you have an idea of this is, of course, the traditional image, and here it is in the RWS, here it is in Pamela Eakins' work. And if I can, let's just do this because we're all here and we're all probably still hopefully hanging around for this. Here is our 5 of Swords in the Thoth, from Mini Thoth. So you can see here, these are those swords that are curved, right? And they look like they're completely out of shape, they're broken, the hilts. Only one is kind of like the 2 at the top, but they just look so decimated and broken. And I'm sorry, bent, and here they're broken, of course, and here is that breakage, right? So this is because you are entering into unknown territory where old rules no longer apply. So what does it say? As we cross into new frontiers, leaving the old behind, fear can envelop us and become the dominant thought pattern and emotional fallback. This is particularly true if we feel we have been slandered, dishonored, or persecuted. Or if we feel we have done this to others. Fear is an important warning signal, but it can also create an unnecessary distraction. Sorry about the sirens. Okay. This distraction can keep us from rising into our greater potential. In a state of free-floating anxiety, for example, we might imagine that things could get worse in the future, that there could be more chaos, terror, or pain. Imagining the worst increasingly heightens anxiety, which heightens tension, which heightens pain, which heightens fear. So she will step by step take us through the whole kind of like a meditation, how this would go. And then we have an astrological attribution, Venus in Aquarius, how that plays out, the Kabbalistic symbols, but again, what it means in the tree of life, how it interrelates this 5 of Wind in sphere 5, traditional meditation color, and again meditations. So really, I mean, if you're looking to have a dive that goes further, I would strongly suggest this deck, because this deck and this book, because they give us that. So again, let me just go back to the deck now, because I know I got a bit distracted there, but hopefully that gives you an idea of why I've really enjoyed working. I think this is what it was, this way around. Yeah. Why I've really enjoyed working with this deck, because it just is awesome. That's the only way I'm going to say it. It's a very American word, but I'm going to use it today. It's just awesome. Power shield. I mean, why would I think power shield when I think of 8 of Wind? And then when I read the book, it's just amazing. 9 of Wind. So here's 1 of Earth, our Ace of Pentacles. 2 of Earth. Here's what the 6 of Earth is, according to our creators. And again, I've done so much drawings with this because I was so inspired by it. And by doing the drawings myself, I started to have my own thinking and wrapping my head around what was represented by the yellow, the blues, each and every color, each and every symbol in this. There is a reason behind it. Here's a Hierophant. Here's the Hermit card, and here's the Death card. So, there is so much within this. This is not a deck where you will haphazardly get, 3 of these, these 3 pentacles, and you're thinking, okay, each of these, these are feels, the green, the browns, the reds, everything. And then, of course, how it interacts with the Tree of Life is really, really crucial when you look at it. And then it starts to make sense, and you're like, okay, now I get it. And it's the same even with the quartz. There is a reason why it is that way. And then we get, of course, okay, how that is with the Tree of Life as well. So that's so far all of the discussion on this deck and this book. Let me just put this to the side. There's so much here right now. For some reason, and this is the last bit I want to talk about, oh, this is a long video, is the Shimmering Veil Tarot by Cilla Conway. And the reason why I've got this out is because there's something about this deck where I really felt there was some kind of a connection. I don't know if there is. Maybe it's just me making it up in my head. But the more I saw certain images, the more I felt like, is there something here? This is in a different order. Here's the 6 of Fire. There was something within this where I just felt like that there is an interplay. Here's the Wands. I think this is a Knight. I found myself asking myself, is there something going on here between this? Here's the Queen of Wands. And yeah, I really asked myself, are these somehow, these decks connected? I don't know, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but I just felt that there was a strong need for me to just look at these 2 decks together, which I've just done now. And I feel that once we look at the Fools, sorry, not the Fool, the Mages, perhaps also there is an interrelation that maybe there is, I don't know. Here's the Mages. And yeah, I just wanted to look at those together. Is that the High Priestess? Yes. You see here, that's what drew me to this. And this is reminding me of another deck as well, which I don't have. Josephine McCarthy, for some reason, her name is coming to mind. But yeah, there was something there for a second that I just wanted to have a look at. Okay, so I'm going to stop there with this because it wasn't meant to be a pairing video, but I just wanted to have a look at that quickly I thought share it on camera while I did that. So that's it really. Let me just go back to this deck, this beautiful deck, and book, and just say that, that this is a real journey. I'm just trying to make sure things don't fall off my table right now. Hold on a second. This is a real journey. This is really something that I would really encourage you, that if you are interested at all in the Kabbalah and want a view of somebody who's got such a huge experience in it, I would definitely recommend this. I think I've barely scratched the surface with this deck, to be quite honest with you, and I think this will be a very, very big part of my background decks, decks that I will be anchoring into, and it will be part of my calibrations for the future as well. So with that, I'm going to stop here. This is a very long video, but if you've been with me so far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you're having a wonderful week wherever you are, and I will speak to you soon. Take care now.